Previously on Cougan's Customs. Cougan removed the jacket as well as the details from the shirt underneath. Turns out the torso was too short. Better break him open and add some plastic for length. There, that's better.
And then he added some muscles. Oh, and some hair. Now we're caught up. Let's watch episode 4. Alright, I'm very quickly covering everything with paint just so I'll be able to see which areas need to be smoothed out. Alright, now his jacket needs a lot of modifications. I'm going to start by making a collar. I'm roughly drawing out the collar with this 3D print pen, and then I'm going to attach it. A 3D print pen is kind of like an expensive glue gun, but for plastic. So when I put new plastic on the collar and the jacket, it's going to melt the jacket a little bit, it's going to melt the collar a little bit, and they're going to fuse together pretty well. So looking back at his jacket, I need to extend this centerpiece quite a bit. So back in with the 3D print pen. So I just put it down on a flat surface and I'm drawing out the shape. Once I roughly lay down the plastic while it's still hot, I hit it with my finger to flatten it. Looking closer, but still a long way to go. Still looks pretty rough. A little more on the collar. This looks really rough, so I'm going to use the soldering iron to smooth it out. Now remember, I cut the jacket off him earlier with a razor blade. Now I'm going to use the plastic in order to glue it back together. Now the first scene of the game, he's got the jacket off and you can see all the tattoos and stuff. So I think that's pretty important that the figure be able to do that too. Now I'm just making strips to put between the gaps where I cut, because I want the armholes to be a little bit bigger so it's easier to take the jacket off. So I've got the strip on one side of the jacket, and on the other side I'm putting new hot plastic to glue it all together. And because I extended his torso earlier, the jacket's a little too short, so I'm making it longer to reach down where it did before. Just making a little strip on the bottom. That's also going to help attach it all together. Trimming the edges with a scissor. I try it on, see how it fits. And let's glue the other side. Alright, with everything attached, now let's see if we can fit both arms in there. Alright, it's a little tight, you know, it's a bit of a struggle, but it's definitely possible. The way it came from the factory was impossible to remove. Trimming the edges with a scissor. And smooth it out again with the soldering iron. Moving on to smoothing out his face. A little bit of a dramatic jump here, considering the jacket's not halfway done. But there's something to that. You know, my character animation teacher at the Art Institute would pretty often say, you know, don't do the same thing for too long. You know, you're going to get bored and probably the work is going to suffer for it. Now I'm just quickly filling in some holes I noticed in his face with the epoxy putty. And smoothing out his lower torso area. Now I'm going to actually manually sew him a pair of sleeves. I would use that same blue plastic, but as flexible as it is, it's not flexible enough to allow him to move his arms completely. So my solution is cloth sleeves. Challenge with this is going to be, how do I get it to look like a leather jacket and not an old t-shirt? Alright, let's flip it inside out and try it on. It's a little tight, But you know what? That's fine because his arms are about to get a lot thinner. So I'm just taking the Dremel and I'm scraping down all of the sleeve detail. That'll make his arms slightly thinner and the sleeves will be able to slip on easier. And you know, they'll look more like naked arms, which is what I need. Switching arms. Now he's got a full torso and sleeves of tattoos. It'll be interesting figuring out how to paint those later. Now I'm grinding down the area where the hand and the arm meet. Better designed figures will do what they can to hide joints and seams, usually with carefully placed clothing items. You know, like if he were to have a wristband, that'd be the perfect place to put the wrist movement. Of course, it gets complicated when you have naked parts of your figure because there's nothing you can hide those seams with. All you can do is blend them as smoothly as you can into each other. Just going to take some of those shavings off. Arms look better. Moving on. By grinding the middle of his back down a little bit. A little more on the collar. Just burned my thumb, so I'm going to get some ice. Those 3D print pens get to over 200 degrees, so pretty easy to burn yourself. But just get some ice on it for like 15 minutes and you'll be fine. Alright, I'm going to get ready to attach those sleeves. Just to slip them on one more time to make sure they fit. And now I just glue them on with the hot plastic. It works especially good as a fabric glue because that hot plastic gets in between all the little threads and you pretty much have to destroy the fabric to get it off. Alright, well, still very rough, but I think it's looking pretty good. We got the basic coat down now. Well, thanks for watching today. Come back soon and we'll have more.